So by practicing semen retention, you keep yourself full, you keep yourself charged up with energy, and you keep the polarity in the relationship very strong. Hey, what's up guys? I'm Jonathan White. I'm here to help you master your sexual energy so you can magnetize your ideal life. Make sure you grab my free ejaculation control guide. There's a link in the video description below. So retaining your semen when you're in a relationship. This is the true test of a man's willpower. It's one thing to do semen retention when you're single. You have no, distractions relatively, right? This is a pattern I see a lot in guys doing nofap. Is like, they're not looking at porn, they're not masturbating, but they get into a relationship and they just go right back to these old sexual patterns. This porn conditioned approach of very physically based sex that ends with the man ejaculating. It's still draining your vital energy, and it's going to lead to depletion when you ejaculate regularly. So it's equally important to practice semen retention when you're in a relationship, and even more so because there's often much more temptation and much more opportunity for you to ejaculate. And again, this is really the true test of a man's willpower. Can you recondition yourself? Can you change your dynamic of experiencing sexuality from needing to constantly release the sexual energy from your body into being able to hold a sexual charge, being able to hold your semen within your body, even when you're making love with your partner, even when things are getting passionate? Can you hold your semen, hold your life force in your body? And this is going to bring so much more richness to your relationship, so much more richness to your sex life potentially as well, because men can orgasm without ejaculating. And this is actually going to help you last much longer in bed. Worldwide, men only last a few minutes during sex, statistically. So anything you can do to last more than just a few minutes is going to help you please your partner and also bring more pleasure to yourself as well. Because when sex only lasts like 10, 15 minutes, it's not enough time to really get into these full body states of ecstatic orgasmic bliss, where you're like, energy is exploding out of your body and you're feeling like at one with the universe. Like, this is some serious cosmic shit here. So this comes down to your sexual ability. And this is where the heart of sexual kung fu training lies, is being able to have this non-ejaculatory sex. And again, this is something you have to train in. We, as men, most of us have this pathway of sexual expression where it's like arousal builds up and then you release it out your penis, you ejaculate. That's the pattern. And for most men, this is a daily pattern. It's like, oh, I feel aroused, I have to look at porn, masturbate, release this, or I have to have sex with my partner and ejaculate, release the sexual charge. Most men never get to these high levels of sexual energy because they never last more than a day or two without ejaculating. So obviously you have to transform your body a little bit to be able to handle this high charge of sexual energy. And this is really what a lot of these ancient systems were geared towards, is such as Qigong, such as yoga, tantra, meditation practices are about transforming the body and transforming your mind, which also transforms the way that you experience sexuality, the way that you experience sexual connection and even orgasm. You start to work with the subtle energy of the body, the chi, the prana, the force. You learn to feel this energy in your body. You learn to feel your subtle energy channels, and you learn to open them up to promote a healthy flow of energy in your body. First of all, this dramatically improves your health and your energy levels, dramatically lowers your stress and your ability to be influenced by other people. And then it sets a solid foundation to be able to change the way that you experience your sexual arousal, your orgasm. Because again, the typical pathway for men is for an orgasm to be completely limited to the genitals, where your energy is just shooting out of your body. And yeah, it feels good, but it only lasts about 10 to 15 seconds. And then you don't feel very good after that. And you certainly can't have another orgasm right away. You have to recover. You have to regain your energy. So when the body's open, when you open these subtle energy pathways in the body, for example, the Microcosmic Orbit, the most well-known one, goes up the back of the body, down the front of the body, these two main energy meridians in the body. When this is open, when this is clear, now you have a pathway to move your arousal through. You have a pathway to move this orgasm through, this orgasmic energy, so that as it builds up in the genitals, you bring it up with your awareness in your body. And now you can hold a very strong charge of sexual energy and pleasure without ejaculating and still experience these internal orgasms. So you become a better lover, first of all, because you're no longer focused on trying to thrust your way into this ejaculation in a few minutes, as most men do, and you're able to connect with your partner, focus more on their pleasure, and last long enough to give them pleasure. Most women take 20 minutes or longer to become orgasmic, And so if you can't last that long, then you and your partner are just not going to be satisfied with each other, most likely. And this is a problem in many relationships. So by being able to control your sexual energy, you become a master in the bedroom, not just in the bedroom, but in your daily life. When you can control your mind during sex, I mean, you think about, sex is so stimulating, it's so exciting. When you can overcome the urge that drives most men's life, the urge to ejaculate, and instead redirect that energy upwards in the body, your willpower becomes unbreakable. Anything you set your mind to, you can now accomplish. So out in the world, out in daily life, stress is coming at you, other people's, negativity is coming at you. You don't let these things land on you because you're strong. Your mind is strong, your body's open, your energy is flowing, and you are truly a master. So obviously, if you want to be in a relationship and practice semen retention, then you need to train to open up the pathways of the body, to be able to hold this sexual energy and pleasure and have these internal orgasms without ejaculating. Another important aspect is being able to manage your emotions. One of the dangers of practicing semen retention is that sexual energy amplifies everything, good or bad. So when you build up your sexual energy, you have more energy driving your emotions, more energy driving your thoughts, your obsessions. So this really gets into like the light side and the dark side, right? You can either become Darth Vader or you can become Luke Skywalker. This is what your sexual energy will do to you. This is the main danger of working with sexual energy, is that it amplifies things, it bonds you to things, it sticks you together with things, right? So if you have all these underlying unconscious patterns, all this negativity, if you have no control over your emotions, then by retaining your semen, you're literally just pouring gasoline on the fire and increasing this thing. Semen retention simply makes you more of who you are. It's not inherently a good thing when you look at it that way, because again, this is why doing inner work is so important. In my sexual kung fu system, in my 6-week course, I teach you how to manage your emotions, to clear negative emotions and stop living in these reactive patterns. Like someone pisses you off, so you take on this anger and frustration, you act it out in the external world. Instead of doing that, you have a practice to resolve these negative emotions internally before they start to drive you to behave, like an animal. So being able to manage your emotions is crucial if you're practicing semen retention, especially in a relationship, because let's face it, our relationships are always mirrors of who we truly are. When you're running into issues in your relationships, when you're having conflicts, certain patterns coming up, it's always a reflection of some certain pattern that you have internally. And it's never easy, but this is one of the greatest ways that we learn in life. So we can either keep blaming the other person, saying, well, it's all their fault, it's all of women, women are just whores and sluts and things like that, like a lot of men do. Or you can take responsibility for the patterns you're running into in your life and say, okay, maybe this is happening because this is something I'm holding within me. And you start to look within yourself. You start to meditate upon these things. You start to look deeply within yourself and see that you have these underlying negative patterns within you that you're attracting on the external world. So it's always a mirror. And again, when you're able to manage your emotions, when you're practicing semen retention in a relationship, you become an incredibly powerful, magnetic, influential, yet balanced man. You become very masculine and you make a solid impact on the world. People are inspired by you, when you're living in this harmonious state of having high energy, but also keeping that energy balanced and refined, because you're doing your daily practice, you're meditating, you're circulating your internal energy. So I believe that semen retention really has the power to deeply enrich a relationship, because one of the main problems men run into in their relationships is that, so when they're constantly ejaculating during sex, they're depleting their energy. And this may start to build up this resentment for their partner because their sexual charge becomes diminished. And on some level, they feel that their partner is draining their energy, but really they're the ones giving it away freely. You know what I mean? So it starts to actually dissolve the polarity. When a man's constantly ejaculating, he loses his masculine charge. So the relationship starts to lose that yin-yang magnetic attraction, which is driving the whole relationship, because when you're constantly ejaculating, you become more feminized, and you may feel less attracted to your partner, you may feel resentful to them, they may feel the same way towards you. So this can actually destroy relationships. Again, this pattern of sexual depletion, and this happens in both men and women. So by practicing semen retention, you keep yourself full, you keep yourself charged up with energy, and you keep the polarity in the relationship very strong. You have so much more desire and passion for your partner when you're carrying this massive charge of sexual energy, and they feel the same way about you. A man is much more magnetic. He's much more attractive, influential, and just passionate in his life when he has this strong supply of sexual energy. And I think it's important to mention here that I'm not saying you can never ever ejaculate. You can still ejaculate occasionally and get all the benefits of semen retention, especially in a relationship. It's just not realistic for most men to assume they're never going to ejaculate. But so if you go from ejaculating, say, once a day, that's what you've been doing, and then you start to hold off and ejaculate only once every few days, then maybe once a week, then once every 2 weeks. Just find what the best interval for you is, and you'll notice that your vitality increases, your sexual health increases. You'll have harder erections, higher sexual drive. Your partner will feel more desire for you as well, and you'll start to feel so good that you'll naturally want to go longer without ejaculating. So overall, I find semen retention to be a very important part of a conscious, evolved relationship. So if you want to learn more about how to have sex without ejaculating, be a master in the bedroom, check out my 6-week course. I open registration every 3 months. I'll put a link to that in the video description so you can find more information. Thank you for watching this video. Please subscribe to my channel, give this video a like, and leave a comment below. What do you think about practicing semen retention in a relationship, or what has your experience with it been? Have a great day, my friends.